It's my life. I'll do what I want.
Hey YouTube, and it is time for a brand new episode of How to Get Away with Murder, Season 1, Episode 5. I'm going to get into everything, give you a full analysis of the entire recap for the entire episode, so make sure you stay tuned if you want to keep up with me as we keep up with How to Get Away with Murder. You know, people we didn't hear too much from this episode was actually Michaela, Connor, and Asher. We really didn't peer into any of them. I mean, they were barely in this episode. So, for the most part, this episode will be all about flashbacks, Wes, Miss Keaton, and Laurel. And then, of course, the Rebecca case that we all have to figure out what is going down with that. So, keep watching. It'll be a great, great recap. Alright, the very first thing is always flashbacks. Gotta go back over flashbacks. They didn't go into too much of anything, but the biggest thing we found out is that we're 6 weeks out. So between where these kids initially met and when this murder took place is actually only 6 weeks out. So we're getting closer and closer to the answer of who killed Viola Davis's husband. I do find it kind of interesting though, because it seems as if maybe the next episode, usually with new episodes, with new television shows, they only do a 6-week tryout. And what I mean is they'll go and record a pilot, and if the show is picked up, they usually only record 6 episodes. And then the show will, then the channel will order a full series for a full season for the whole show. So right now, I don't know if we're going to end after this next episode, because usually it's just 6 episodes. And it seems like because we're meeting towards the middle and about to finally figure out who killed her husband, it seems as if that maybe this show is going to stop there. They may take a 3, 4, maybe 2-month break, and then we'll start again, but we'll see. And you know, so there'll be like a second half to season 1. So right now, we're at episode 5, and we're going to see how this flows all the way through to the rest of it. But flashbacks included, this episode kind of centered around Laurel. We get back to the point where Michaela has dropped her engagement ring and she still doesn't want to leave. She just has to stay and find it. So in the process of that, and where these kids almost got caught by 2 other kids, Laurel's phone rings and it's Frank calling her. And she's not answering, and like, okay, why is Frank calling you? You have an entire boyfriend, the guy, Khan, that's kind of like a computer geek. Like, why is he calling you? She's like, oh, he's obsessed with me. He's the one that is hounding me. Yes, I slept with him, but now he's the one all over me. So he keeps calling throughout the whole entire time, and she keeps ignoring the call, and they're like, no, answer it. He will give us an alibi because he'll hear the bonfire, and which is the bonfire is the body burning, and they'll give us an alibi because, you know, he'll say, okay, yeah, I heard them, they were at the bonfire. So she's like, so they're like, answer the phone. So she answered the phone, and, you know, he's like, okay, I'm really sorry, and I really want everything. I didn't mean it to make out like that. I know I slept with a lot of students, but you're different this time. So he's making up a lot of excuses, and he's like, I'll do anything, absolutely anything. I am so sorry. I will do absolutely anything to get back on your side. So she's like, okay, you'll do anything. Okay, good to know. So, because, you know, they're telling her we need an alibi. So at the same time that Michaela's looking for this ring, Asher wants his trophy back. The reason why he went up to the house last episode and was trying his best to barge in. So Laurel's like, you know what? She's not leaving without this ring. I'll go and return the trophy. And they're like, well, how are you going to do that if Michaela's supposed to have it? And she's like, I'll figure something out. So she is supposed to go off and go get the trophy and give it to Asher. She decides to stop by Frank's, and she was like, did you mean what you said when you said that you would do anything for me? And he was like, yeah, sure, what is it? So it stops right there with the flashbacks. Like, literally, there weren't that many flashbacks this episode. They pieced it all apart, but when you put it together, it was probably like 5 minutes worth of flashbacks. It wasn't much to the flashbacks. But let's go on to the next one. Alright, our next character analysis is Laurel. The episode was kind of about her, but not really peering into who she is and why she's a lawyer or whatever. But the episode was definitely about her as far as the flashbacks, her being so connected with the with the new client in their new case, this guy that killed his father And of course Keaton's job is to get him off. He killed his father. It was very, very, very clear that he killed his father, but his reasoning for killing was because it was self-defense of a third person. His mother was constantly being beat by his father, so he did it to help his mother, to save his mother. They ended up winning the case in the end, but she seemed so connected to him, she wanted to get this boy off of this charge. But the interesting fact was, we really got to peer into, she has a boyfriend, which we, towards the beginning of this season, we have not known that. But this guy shows up randomly, and from the very first time we see him, Frank says, "You got your boyfriend here." He's like, "Oh yeah, I'm glad to see someone thinks I'm your boyfriend." So it seems as if they weren't dating last episode, but now the very next episode, they're together. And she ends up making out with Frank before she slept with him. She ends up making out with him, but she feels very guilty. She tells him, "I have a boyfriend," and then she goes home to him and sleeps with him. Baby girl got just a little too much going on. Laurel's still an interesting character that we're still trying to develop and really understand. I really can't get a full grasp of her personality because there's just like so many secrets. There's so many things that we don't know about her, and I doubt it'd be anytime soon before we really get to pair. Because I mean, for her to be so connected to this boy that killed his father, like she just had to get him off. I thought we would learn why she just wanted to get him off, but nothing's ever mentioned. So she's still a mystery character. I guess a wild card, as they might say with the show. But yeah, not too much more on her this episode. So who's next? Down to the lady of the hour, Miss Keaton. Honey, we got so much details about her and all of this situation. Of course, we left off with her saying, "Why is your penis on a dead girl's phone?" So we come back and we're getting the rest of the conversation. She's like, "Okay, do not lie to me. I know you had a relationship with this girl. Tell me the truth." And he was like, "Okay, it was just a small relationship. She was a student of mine. She kept coming to my office." She's like, "How many times did you sleep with her?" "Oh, 6, maybe 7 times. It happened over the summer. It was nothing after that." But she kept persuading me. She kept wanting to have more of a relationship, and I kept going against it. I mean, they're just like, and then they get to this whole arguing because he's trying to touch her. And when a woman is mad, you do not touch her, honey. As long as she is female, if she is angry, the last thing you do is touch her. He decided he wanted to touch her. So they get into this kind of like, tussle match where she's like, "Get off of me, get off of me." Also during this arguing, she's like, "Okay, I know the type of girls that you like. You like girls that you can fix. So, I was one that you could fix, and this little girl was one that you could fix." So she ends up saying that she is actually his second wife. She was his wife's mistress. He was, well, not really the wife's mistress, but Keaton was his mistress. Miss Keaton was his mistress. And he was like, "Well, the situation, that was a completely different situation." She's like, "Yeah, right. You've done it once. Why in the world would I believe you've done it again?" So Bonnie comes in. She can hear the arguing happening. And then, of course, she kicks him out, tells him to sleep downstairs. So actually, she puts him out the house. He comes back later and has to sleep downstairs. But Bonnie sees the argument happening. She gets into this, argument, so she's like, "Okay, I just have to see the boyfriend, the detective." So she goes out to meet with him, and I mean, it is just written all over this man's face that he does not want anything to do with her. So she's trying to have a conversation with him and all this other kind of stuff, and he comes serious. He's like, "I don't even know why you even want to approach me right now because you got me fired." And she's like, "What are you talking about?" He's like, "I don't have a job anymore because you went and told my boss that I was looking in on your husband." And she's like, "I didn't tell anybody anything. What?" And she really doesn't get to explain herself, but he's just upset, so he's just going off, and he's like, "Yeah, well, that's why don't you go with your lying, cheating husband, because I'm gonna tell you the truth now. I lied before. He was not in Philadelphia. He was not doing the what was that lecture that he was supposed to be doing. I don't know where your husband was, but I'm done with this situation." So when she finds that out, she actually goes back to Bonnie, and the weirdest conversation happens between them, because she's like, "Okay, why didn't you tell me that you went and spoke to the detective or whatever?" And she's like, "Oh, well, I'm sorry." She's like, I know why you went, and I know why, you know, how you got that confession tape, but I know it wasn't for me. You know, and she's like, okay, well, I'm sorry about everything with him. And it seems as if, because I guess maybe I'm just reading into that there's a relationship between Sam and Bonnie, but it seems as if she's apologized, like, I am so sorry that I even, you know, approached a situation like that with your husband. It seems as if she probably did, the way that she apologized was actually her way of apologizing for having a relationship with her husband. But Keaton took the apology as one for using her husband to get a confession to help them with Rebecca's case. There's definitely more of this is going to come out later. I think Bonnie kind of realizes that, okay, the situation's over with. You know, she knows the truth, so it's over with and I can move on. But knowing Keaton, this is not the end of the story. We definitely going to hear more about this later on. The man of the hour, of course, is Mr. West. Now, when it comes to him and his relationship with Rebecca, they seem to be growing stronger. Well, of course, we know that Miss Keaton got her bail reduced, and so she was, you know, released on her own recognizance, and she's supposed to be at home until the trial. Wes is still on order not to speak to her, not to communicate with her, but I believe that once Rebecca trusted him and he got the password to the phone, it opened up to a lot of information that was on that phone. So before, I didn't know whether or not he actually looked into it, but this episode you can tell he definitely got the full story from Rebecca regarding Lila and all of the information on the phone before he gave it to Miss Keaton. So Miss Keaton has this brilliant idea because her husband is on the phone, because his body is on the phone, and it's looking very bad for him right now. And he is the psych teacher at the college, at the university that they're teaching at. They decide that they want to find out how much Rebecca knows, if she actually knows that that is him. So she's telling Rebecca that she's going to have the psych teacher come in and actually evaluate her for the means of the case, when really they're just prodding her for proof of what she knows, to know if, okay, is this something that we have to cover up with her too, or can we just go on and kind of bury this under the rug? So Rebecca does this entire interview with him. Well, analysis, not an interview, analysis with him. And he's, you know, supposed to be going over her psyche and, you know, trying to get, you know, mental state and all that other kind of stuff. But he's really asking a lot of questions about, you know, who she was seeing, if Rebecca knew his name, if she knew his was, if she could identify him, and all this other kind of stuff. So, you know, Rebecca has this full, nice, lengthy conversation with him. And after it's over and she gets back to her place, you know, Wes, of course, asks her how it went. And she's like, yes. I mean, it's like a typical interview. It's just as if they're just being prodding and asking a lot of questions without any reason to have a lot of questions. So, you know, whatever the case may be, she goes off and is away. Well, we come back later where Wes is actually, you know, he's walking back home. He was going up to his apartment and he looks in her home and her door's wide open. Well, her apartment. Her door's wide open and he was like, Rebecca, he's looking for her. She's nowhere to be found. So he's looking and looking and looking, searching. The apartment is empty, and from the looks of it, it didn't seem to be tussled over, as if she kind of like, as if somebody came in and took her, or as if she kind of like grabbed a bunch of stuff and headed out the door. So it kind of seems as if she just walked off. So he's calling her, and she's like, okay. She finally picks up the phone, and he's talking to her, and she was like, please tell me that you had no idea what they were trying to do. And he's like, okay, of course not. I have no idea what you're talking about. Explain to me a little more what you mean. And she's like, okay, I can't say much. He was like, well, where are you? She's like, I'm not telling you. She's like, well, please, you can be a part of this too. She's like, you just need to go back and look at the wallpaper. And I'm like, look at the wallpaper. So, okay, fine. So he's like, okay. He goes, and they do this like third person eye view of him going through the apartment. the best thing, because he walks into the, first off, I don't know why her entire staff either has keys or the fact that she leaves off. Either two problems are happening. She leaving his front door unlocked all the time, or everybody that works for her has a key. I got a feeling she just leaving the door unlocked. So he walks right in, and he like looks over, and her husband is laid there asleep on the couch. He walks right up the stairs. He walks straight into her bedroom, and he looks at the wallpaper, and then he looks, then Annalise comes out the bathroom. She just got out the shower. She comes out the bathroom, and he was like, "You knew this whole time." She's like, "Knew what? What do you mean? Why are you even here?" Because he really scared her, because, you know, she thought only her and her husband was in the house, and of course her husband's downstairs asleep. So, and he's dressed in all black like he's a axe murderer. So she was really thrown off by him there. She was like, "Your husband," he told her, "Your husband is Mr. Darcy," which was the nickname that Lila, the dead girl, had for Sam. "Your husband is Mr. Darcy." You know, Rebecca knew that he was married. She knew that he called her Mr. Darcy, but she had never seen his face, because all of the images on her phone was just body. So she never saw the face to connect with it. So, but once she saw, because she went to the bathroom, and the bathroom was, of course, upstairs, inside of her bedroom, whatever. But for whatever reason, she had to pass by the bedroom, or go through the bedroom to go to the toilet. I don't know why she only got one toilet in the house. So she goes through there, and that's when she sees wallpaper, and she puts everything together. She realizes that that's him. So now she's on the run. Wes is sitting there looking stupid, and he's really angry at Miss Keaton, because not only was this something that she was trying to keep from him, but she's lied to him throughout this entire time, because she knew the truth the whole time. The minute that she saw the picture, the minute that she said she knew it. So he's caught, because truthfully and honestly, there's like a tiny sliver of the wallpaper from her home in the picture with his body. And I mean, it's like literally like maybe that much wallpaper. Like, it's very, 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 very slim. It's not like a basic wallpaper. I mean, everybody doesn't have a purple and gray wallpaper plastered across their wall. Rebecca's right now on the run, so she's probably going to skip bail, which is going to be very bad. But if Wes was still a fool in all of this, Annalise would be on top of his head. She would hate him for everything. But because he now knows the truth, she has a lot of splaining to do. Lucy got a lot of splaining to do. And I believe that this next episode coming, she does some very unethical, illegal things to get some truth and some answers. So it's a lot coming up with this next episode. So it's just that we'll see. So I hope you guys enjoyed this review. I'll be back next week with, or maybe the end of this week, with the next video for season 1, episode 6. Hope you guys liked it. Make sure you comment, like, and subscribe to my channel so that you can keep up with me and everything else that's happening with this show, any other shows that I do, or any other videos that I record. Until next time, guys. Bye.